members of the press. Good morning, Bermuda. It's my pleasure to talk to you this morning about a subject that's close to my heart, and that is the economy of Bermuda. Bermuda needs a strong economy for jobs, opportunity, and public services. In 2012, we did not have one. Debt had risen by over 700% in the previous decade. Thousands of jobs had been lost. And we hear many things on the media these days about 2,000 jobs, but perhaps some few folks have selective amnesia because 4,770 jobs were lost over the final 4 years of the PLP administration. 4,770, according to government statistics. Government finances were dangerously out of control. When we took over a deficit for that year of $332 million. And in fact, as I've mentioned before, the governor of Bermuda had real difficulty making payroll in January 2013. Our government adopted a two-track strategy. One, to stimulate the economy, mainly by way of inward direct investment, and two, to control and reduce government spending. Now, as I said, we've heard a lot about 2,000 jobs. Government does not have a statistical grip on these numbers at the moment of employment numbers. The numbers that have been quoted and been bandied about are almost a year old, and they won't get updated until October or September. But you don't have to look at stats to know what's going on in Bermuda today. All you have to do is to look around you to see what's going on. Down at the East End, we have a brand new airport that's being built. Just last week, 50 new Bermudian jobs were announced. The project is on track to create more than 300 Bermudian jobs across a period of 40 months. Also, down at the East End, the St. Regis Hotel is commencing, which will produce another 300 jobs. The America's Cup and Wedco have produced hundreds of jobs. Ray Charlton will talk about that in a moment. Hundreds of jobs and business opportunities. In Morgan's Point, over 100 Bermudians are working up there, and Mr. Norton Brangman will talk about that. There has been a renaissance in tourism. An industry that's been in decline for 30 years is finally turning around. And because of that, the Hamilton Princess has reported that their staff has grown from 300 to 600. We have a new hotel down there at Pink Beach called the Lauren, which has created 40 new full-time positions. So today, everything is trending up. In 2012, when we took over, everything was trending down. Insofar as government finances are concerned, we impose strict spending controls in government. We slashed spending on consultants and travel. We brought down the size of government by enacting a hiring freeze and early retirements. And that strategy has been quite effective. Government has got the size of the civil service has been reduced by 650 people without laying off one civil servant. We are on track to have a balanced budget in 2018, which will be the first time in about 20 years. And that will enable us to start finally paying down this mountain of debt that we've accumulated. Rating agencies that we depend on to get our credit have been pretty impressed by our performance as a government. Standard & Poor's, one of our rating agencies, has said this about the management of the Bermuda economy. They have said, quote, that the management of the Bermuda economy has been, quote, effective and predictable. And I can tell Bermudians that effective is good, but predictable is doubly good. because creditors do not like nasty surprises. So being predictable is very important. The bottom line is that the public purse today is in much better shape than it was 4.5 years ago. And we are moving in the right direction. And that's important because we will be better positioned to serve the needs of Bermudians if government finances are in good shape. Stimulating the economy. When we started out, the aim was to press every button, pull every lever, and work every angle to restore Bermuda's economic health and to have that restoration of recovery extended to every home and give people hope for better days. We've been successful at that, but that is still a work in progress. That is still a work in progress. And we will continue to make that progress as time goes forward after this election and after we're reelected in this election. There's been a renaissance in tourism. This government formed the Bermuda Tourism Authority, which, after withering criticism, has now been a spectacular success. The America's Cup has caused an infusion of hundreds of millions of dollars of money into our economy and put a lot of money in the pockets of hundreds of Bermudians from all walks of life. There's been a surge in air vacation visitors, 15 consecutive months of growth. We were told once upon a time that there was no way we could get cruise ships ever again into St. George's and Hamilton. But guess what, folks? We got cruise ships now coming into St. George's and the city of Hamilton from this year going forward. We've gotten major projects off the ground. We've secured investor confidence for hotels in development for the St. Regis, the Ritz-Carlton, and the Lauren, and of course, the airport redevelopment project. Now, I have flanking me two candidates that are intimately involved and have intimate knowledge in some of the successes that I've talked about. We have on my left, we have Mr. Nalton Brangman, who is our candidate for constituency 24, and to my right, we have Mr. Ray Charlton, who is our candidate for constituency 36. So I'll now turn over the mic to Mr. Brangman.
Thank you, Minister. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I can speak to the facts. The One Bermuda Alliance began remediation at the Morgan's Point property in 2013. And I can tell you, as I was there, it was a mess. And approximately $28 million has been paid out to local contractors. The process is now complete. I can, with great pride, say that the marina was finished in time for America's Cup. Construction of the residences are well on their way. And Bermuda can be very proud of the fact that with the government's infusion of cash there, that has made a major difference with many Bermudians getting work. And I can tell you that sometimes there were well over 100 Bermudians up there working at any given time. Let me also speak to the issue with regards to one of the other features. The America's Cup Artemis racing team was there. When you consider for just a minute, they had over 70 families here in Bermuda paying rents. You combine that with Oracle, let's call that 150 families, multiply that by $3,000 a month, we'll give it a round figure. That's approximately $450,000 a month. And they've been here for 18 months. That money went straight into the pockets of landlords in the western parishes and helped our economy significantly. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Ray Charlton.
Good day, everyone. I'm here to share the good news story about the revitalization in the West End. For the past 4.5 years, more has been accomplished in Dockyard and in the West End area than has been accomplished in the past 30. This is not by accident. This is not all to do with the America's Cup. Plans for revitalization and renovation of those buildings started before we even knew we were going to get the America's Cup. The WEDCO board at the time wanted to pick one building per year and do a major renovation. And we started off with the building where the team Oracle base is actually located now by the West End Yachts. That was about a $1.3 million renovation. And again, that started well before the America's Cup. The idea was that we have this historical place and we wanted to use WEDCO funds to have a mini stimulus in the West End. And purposely, we looked for small to medium-sized contractors to come out and do work on renovating everything. So the team up there did a splendid job. We've spent close to $15 million in the past 2.5 years on building renovations. And now, with the close of the America's Cup, we have restored buildings that can be used for commerce, for creating additional jobs. I have a vision of uplifting the dockyard, which is the economic engine for the West End. No longer do I want to see Somerset to be a place where people want to go there as maybe a second choice. I would like to see the West End to be the first choice where people want to come and work, live, and play there. In the last 2.5 years, we have employed, both with the America's Cup Village, creation of the land, and for the renovations in Dockyard, we've had over 200 contracting firms working there, and conservatively, without fear of me being factually incorrect, I can tell you that we've employed more than 500 Bermudians. That figure is very conservative. It's well north of that, but again, to be factually correct, I can without a doubt say we've employed over 500 people. We would like the opportunity of continuing this good news. We are investing in our future and our children's future, and we will continue to act prudently with the public funds and get the job done.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. What a team, I'll tell you. So we're going to continue to push to expand economic activity in this island for jobs and opportunity, and also to continue to shore up our government finances so we can support people's needs. There's a lot of emphasis on supporting people's needs in our platform, but we have to have the wherewithal to do it, and that's what this economic piece is about. One of the things that we've highlighted in our platform is that we're going to, the two major capital projects that we are looking to do would be the rebuild of the causeway. Many people have said to me, what's the point of having a new airport if the causeway is going to get mashed up every time we have a storm? Well, we need a new causeway, and we'll look into constructing that, and the redevelopment of the Hamilton waterfront. And we're going to do this in a fiscally prudent and responsible manner. We're going to continue our safe hands management of the people's money in this country. We have also already announced the progressive tax reform that I announced in the budget, where people who earn less than $137,000 a year will get a tax break. Those earning more than that figure will have to pay more tax. And we also, of course, in finance, it's our job to protect Bermuda against external financial threats. One of our other jobs in finance is to protect seniors' pensions. Now, the opposition, led by David Burt, wants to take, he's announced that he wants to take $70 million or more from government-controlled pension funds and shift them to fund startup companies in Bermuda. Now, startup companies are by definition very high-risk investments, essentially gambling with people's retirement funds. So I take this opportunity to say unequivocally to Bermuda's seniors, of which I am one, we will protect your pensions. We will not allow them to be used in venture capital type investments, as we see on a TV show called Shark Tank. There will be no Shark Tank with your pension money. We will make sure pensions are responsibly and safely managed, as they are right now, while we will be providing cost of living adjustments to social insurance and also to the Civil Service Pension Fund. And so my message to Bermuda seniors is that with this party and this government, your aspects of your money will be and continue to be in safe hands.